Good morning, my name is Rich McHugh. I'm from the University of Victoria, and I'm going to talk about social media and education this morning. And just to warn you, this is a bit of a rant. But first, I have one small complaint to make. As I flew into the Milwaukee airport yesterday, I saw this on the top of the building, or top of a building. It gave me quite a bit of a scare, but fortunately, I was on the right airplane. I had to check my boarding pass just to be sure. You might want to look for it on your way out. So, my wife and I have a busy home of 5 children and 1 dog, and this picture is an excellent metaphor for our life at home. The year our youngest child, Jillian, started going to school full-time in grade 1, my wife Heather entered nursing school. It had been over 15 years since she'd been in school full-time, and while most aspects of school life were the same, some things had changed dramatically. The professors in her program were generally quite good, except for one. Her first-year biology teacher was filling in for someone on maternity leave. Unfortunately, he was a marine biologist and hadn't taught a first-year biology class in years. He was only marginally more helpful than a brick, so the students were on their own to learn the materials in preparation for their cross-section exams. So what did my wife and her classmates do? They transformed the tools that they'd been using for organizing parties into a collaborative learning platform. So her learning process for each class was as follows. First, she and her classmates would read the chapter in their textbook in preparation for the lecture, and usually understood some, but not all of the concepts. Next, she'd go to class and listen to the professor read someone else's PowerPoint slides, leaving the chapter's concepts no clearer than the textbook. Later that evening, Heather would check the Facebook group for her class and see if anyone had figured out the main points of the lecture yet. If no one had, she would start doing YouTube searches for the key topics in her readings, and would usually find one or more videos that visually explained things much more clearly than either the textbooks or her professor could. For example, this explanation of mitosis on YouTube was much more helpful than anything provided by the college. After finding a clear explanation, she would post a link to the video in her class Facebook group. At the same time, she would usually see links her classmates had posted about other topics from the reading and lecture. Finally, she would watch all the videos and make notes from them for later review before exams. And that is how the whole semester went. So, how did she and her class do? Well, Heather did well. She got an A- in the class, and the class average in her section for the final exam was higher than all of the other 5 sections. So, what lessons can we learn from this? Should we just get rid of professors, since the class did better without having an effective teacher? Well, one could argue that. But I think that the absence of a good teacher, combined with high-quality learning resources on YouTube that were quickly and easily shared and discussed via Facebook, equaled highly engaged students. Out of necessity, Heather and her classmates had to actively search out and learn the concepts that were not being effectively taught in class. Once they mastered the concepts themselves, they often had to explain it to one or more classmates who were still struggling with it. Teaching the newly mastered concepts was great in helping her cement the materials in her mind. So, having said that, my challenge to all of us who support the people who get in front of classes and who get up in front of classes themselves is to look for more and more effective ways to engage students using not only technology, but also engaging teaching techniques, because now students have alternatives to lectures and textbooks. We can't forget that as law schools, we are not in the lecture business, we are not in the technology business, but we are in the teaching and learning business. And engaging students is the best way to help them learn. And that is the end of my rant.